eventful week in basketball with them. I appreciate them moving the free agency window so that we could, not have an off season of any kind. It's nice as a basketball podcast.
Zero.
The Lakers officially announced, as we talked about before, that JJ Redick is the new coach of the team. He had his introductory press conference on Monday. Claire won the press conference because she asked the question that got 2 swear words out of JJ Redick, which was scandalizing enough that it led First Take today. I saw a bunch of grumpy old sports writers, tweeting about it. Claire, tell us about the press conference and your impression of how JJ did, and tell everyone about your viral question.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was crazy because the coolest thing to me that happened in the press conference was they went through the normal beat writers all got to ask a question, and then like Ramona Shelburne and some like the bigger names got to ask a question. And then Mitch, the head of Lakers PR, was like, all right, last question. And then Rob Pelinka actually stepped in, which I feel like is a testament to how well JJ was doing in the press conference, and was like, I saw some other hands raised. Like, did everybody who wanted a question get to ask a question? Because like these people came a long way. And
that's the closest thing to a 5-star performance review you could get 40 minutes into having a job is press conferences. General managers do not say, no, let's go
take
another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
100%.
Like he's making us look really smart right now. Like, please ask him more questions. Because he honestly, I mean, like, today's information notwithstanding, like he absolutely bodied that press conference. Like I thought he came off extremely prepared, poised, intelligent, funny, self-effacing humor, emotionally intelligent as far as like kind of knowing what beats to hit and being able to strike that balance between sort of like poised and prepared, but also honest and candid.
I totally agree.
So I thought he was incredible. I was like, damn, this guy could run for president. Like I was sitting there like shit. I'm like, I don't remember ever being like impressed at a press conference, like impressed, like, wow, this young man, like I was like, I mean, normally press conferences are like, if they're not super boring and stale, they're a win. Normally it's just a bunch of really canned answers and they're not very like delivered in a super compelling fashion. So was really impressed with that. And then, so it was like towards the end of the press conference and a lot of people had gotten questions already. So I could tell that JJ was kind of getting like a little bit looser. And I had several different questions prepared. And I was like kind of trying to decide which one, when they called on me, I was going to ask. And I was like, I think I'm going to throw him like a lob to be spicy if he wants to be spicy. Like I kind of like left it open-ended. I asked him like, for people who haven't seen it, I just asked him which kind of misconceptions about him that he's had to hear online or wherever over the last few weeks is he most looking forward to being able to dispel in his new position. And so I kind of like left room, obviously, for him to kind of take that a couple different directions.
And would you agree? I thought with his first step into the route, I thought he was going to I thought he was going to like blow the question off. Like he initially looked like he was going to do it. Like, oh, I'm not worried about any of that. Like that's where I thought he was going. Yeah. And then you could almost see him. I've watched the video several times. You can almost see him decide to not go that route.
Choose violence. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Right, kind of reminded me. You guys are Succession heads as well, right?
Yes.
Do you remember I think it was season 1, maybe season finale, or no, season 2 season finale, where Kendall's giving the press conference and you think he's going to like take the bullet for his dad. And then all of a sudden he just sort of pivots and is like, and that's why Logan Roy,
right.
It kind of reminded me of that because it felt like you could just like, it was like a plot twist. And I was like, oh, plot twist. But I kind of, the reason I phrased the question that way was because I knew that if he was in the mood to showcase a little bit more of his, like motherfuckerness, then he could, Yeah. So
his really answer to the question. So say what his answer to the question was for people who didn't watch
I am going to use that word, motherfuckerness, has John written all over it. I cannot wait to
I would be honored to
Thank
add
you for giving
to
us
add
that.
to your
Thank you.
Yeah,
Lexicon.
lexicon. There you go. That was the word I was looking for. His answer was, and I'm paraphrasing a little, that's a valid question, which I thought was nice. Like he didn't just like, I felt like him saying that was sort of like him attempting to show respect to me for doing my job before he then basically said, but I don't give a shit. So he was like, that's a valid question, but I don't have a good answer for you. Dramatic pause, because I really don't give a fuck. And then he was just going on to say, you know, that he wants to coach the Lakers and he's worried about his team and his players and maximizing their careers and winning basketball games, not like what, you know, the people online have to say about him. And but he did mention, he's like, I've heard everything the last few weeks, which we're like, we know, like you're super online, like we know you heard everything. You're like painfully online. But yeah, I thought it was like it was almost like a dramatic reading a little bit, like with the like little pause in there too. He's like, but I don't have a good answer for you because I don't give a fuck. You know, it was like he's perfect LA Lakers coach to me in that, you know what I mean? Like he loves the spotlight, he loves the drama, like he's eating it up, you know? So I feel like that's what Darvin Ham, that's one of the many things that I think Darvin Ham was lacking, was just the ability to sort of, I think it's an understated important thing about being a head coach is you're kind of the CEO in a lot of ways of the basketball team. And you're dealing with all the like communications and like the public facing stuff and the interfacing with the public. And just being a basketball genius or being, you know, a good locker room guy doesn't mean that you're good at the like CEO responsibilities. And I think that's where a lot of coaches end up falling short. And I think obviously JJ is phenomenal at that. So.
Yeah,
John, Tyler, what do you think of the answer?
I was gonna say you asked the millennial who's knee deep in NBA Twitter how they felt about the haters, basically. You know, he couldn't resist. We know what cloth he's cut from. But in all seriousness, I think this you gave us an all-timer here. I think this quote is gonna follow JJ throughout his career. I truly believe that because you know, JJ says, you know, he isn't paying attention to the noise, but the noise is there and it's not going anywhere. Because the fact of the matter is he's an experiment, he's a risk, he's an incredible basketball mind, right? He is still a risk. You know, he's still an experiment. They're still taking a gamble on him. And this quote is going to follow him like it's either going to be, you know, incredible for him in a 30 for 30 when we see how successful he's been as a coach, or it's going to be, like you said, a SpongeBob meme one season later and then going to his press conference when he's getting fired or whatever. So yeah, like this is either going to be like the most infamous shit he ever said or the most badass shit he ever said.
I would love to know if JJ or Tyler spend more time on Twitter each day.
JJ might
spend more time than either of them.
I think JJ might be a burner boy, man.
JJ, I feel confident JJ's a burner boy for sure.
I think every NBA player, you know, people that are like that are burner boys for sure. He get his issue, you know what I'm saying, on the side joint. You feel me? But yeah, I'm not excited about this hire. You know what I mean? Like I told you, like I didn't want any experiments with Bron. I'm tired of the experiments. We've seen enough of them. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him go out with at least somebody we know can give him a good shot. I don't know if they can build the team. Yeah. Right. We can't. Yeah. I mean, neither of them were available, but that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? But how he spoke and I think it's necessary for a Lakers coach to understand the situation, understand all that people are talking and know what people are saying and not give a fuck. You know, that's very important because they're going to be talking and you have to not give a fuck. So hearing that particular answer from the question you asked, like that made me more confident in his ability, you know what I'm saying, to maneuver as a head coach. Like, you know, yes, but I mean, I'm still not all the way in, but I feel you have to have that disposition in order to be good at this job, particularly if you're a fucking experiment. This is your first year ever coaching and you have that bright light on you. I don't know if he actually does give a fuck. Like maybe, you know, the next year it turned out he did give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And he was tweaking under the bright lights, but we'll find out. And that's where I'm at with the situation is we'll see, my nigga. But I like how you answered the question. You know what I'm saying?
We're the three of you.
And speaking about nigga.
That's one. I feel like John's gonna give us about three of those.
I have to do it, guys. I have to do it, bro.
It's my hazing moment. It's fine.
We're the three of you surprised at all that people still have the energy in 2024 for the saying the F word at a press conference is unbecoming of a head coach. Like, were you surprised people still have that energy, or John, did you grow up in the church enough that it didn't surprise you?
I grew up in the church, but I was still cussing. I'm from St. Louis. We cursing in the sanctuary, my nigga. I was in the church yesterday cursing. Fuck you mean? You know what I mean? Just yesterday. But anyway, brother. No, I feel like I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. No, I think being on Twitter as like you can't surprise me how weird you are when your perceptions. You know what I'm saying? It's just F-bombs. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? And I do think he knows that would have got people's attention as well, and he still said it. And I think that is a part of having the disposition that's necessary as well, because you're gonna have to make some decisions that people are not gonna like, and you have to be comfortable in that shit as well. And I think he showed that. He knew what the reaction was gonna be. He knew it was gonna light the internet on fire, but he also knew he was gonna get some blowback.
And it was also necessary. I don't care doesn't hit the same as I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah, it was very necessary.
I don't give a fuck. That gotta.
And he said it with like some little extra like spice, and like when he said it, he's like, I really don't give a fuck. You know, like that.
Yeah.
It was like
he said like he's from New York.
Really
said like he's from New York.
A little extra.
You know what I mean?
On that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised at all, just because like when you say the sky is blue on Twitter, there are always people in your mentions like, how do you know? Have you have you been up there? Like, you know what I mean? So everything you say, there's going to be people who have a problem with it. And also, if there's one thing I've learned from being active on NBA Twitter, it's like the amount of like Herb fucking couch GM, like pearl clutching assholes that there are out there is like, they proliferate, man. There's so many of them. And they're just like, how dare you ruin the sanctity of our press conference? Like, and they're literally working at like Wells Fargo or something, you know what I mean? And they're just like, back in my day, a press conference was
shout
whatever.
out to Wells Fargo.
I know. Hashtag sponsor.
Sponsor us, Wells Fargo.
But yeah, I'm not surprised at all. People are going to find something to be. They would have taken umbrage with something in that press conference, and of course that was the spiciest thing he said, because he was so composed and poised and whatever. And so they were just sort of like reaching for anything to, I think, be upset about. But he, just because you win the press conference doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. But I do think that he absolutely like won the press conference.
Okay. Yeah. I listened to, there's a political podcast I listened to where someone made the point, because the presidential debates are coming up in, I think, 2 days here. And this is a guy who's a former advisor to President Obama, said, it's so weird that we use debates as a way to select a president, because there's no analog to the job. He said the president never debates anyone about anything. You listen to policy pitches, you listen to 3 or 4 different ideas, and you pick one and you tell people what to do. You don't sit down with the president of Germany to hash shit out one-on-one. Like that only happens at the debate. And I feel like similarly, there's nothing else to judge JJ Redick on, because he's only done a press conference as a head coach. He hasn't coached a game. They still haven't decided, it sounds like, if he's going to coach in the summer league or not, et cetera, et cetera. But I think there's a little more analog to coaching with the press conference because of what you talked about, John, with the CEO thing. Do you guys think this means anything, that he did well at the press conference, or is it just, it's the only thing we have to talk about right now?
Well, I mean, coaching is persuading people, right? And I think all of us got a little persuaded, like, okay, he might have what it takes. We'll see, right? I don't think anyone came out of this with, oh, he's not the guy, confirmed, right? Like, no, he for sure, tilted the scales in his favor a bit to how he might possibly be the guy. Because like I said, coaching, a big part of coaching is interpersonal relationships, how you relate to people, how you resonate with people. And he resonated with us during this press conference.
Like, one thing about Darvin is when he would talk after making a silly ass decision, he just added more frustration. Like, I think he'll understand the situation and be like, okay, yes, I fucked up. Speak to it and speak how it's going to be changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at least I can be comfortable in those situations where, like, he's going to give me something, you know what I mean? In these type of situations where I need to hear you, say something in particular to like changing what happened. Where I think Darvin was just avoiding shit. I don't think we'll have to worry about that. But with JJ, so I think like having him, during tough times, after difficult games, on the mic, being him will be much more comforting than what we had. But I mean, that doesn't. I don't care about that as much. I really, I want to see what he does in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean? So
the other thing he said that I thought was either like a really good sign or just a sign that he's smart and knows the right things to say in that moment, which it is kind of hard to differentiate sometimes in that scenario, is he said, like, right off the bat, basically, like, I know what the expectations are when you coach Los Angeles Lakers. It's like championship or bust every single year. Like, this is a team that expects championships, and I like understand that. And that's the expectation. And that's what I signed up for. And I think that was a huge point of emphasis with Darvin, and especially like when I was reporting on him getting fired, like what I kept hearing from people as sort of the like turning point where things started to go south for him with the Lakers was when he had that response in that press conference where he was like, people are living and dying with every game.
Yep.
And that's just, this is not the organization for you if people are living and dying with every game and having a super impassioned fan base is daunting for you. Like, this is one of the most famous, storied, beloved franchises in all of sports, and their fans are extremely passionate and have extremely high expectations. So I thought JJ like leaning into that in that press conference and setting the tone for that was really smart on his behalf.
We said after Darvin said
saying,
that,
why do people care so much?
We said
that's some Charlotte Hornets ass shit, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Keep
we
that
said
over
we
there,
said on the
bro.
pod after he said that he fired himself when he said that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you're the coach of the Lakers. Yes, people are living and dying with every game. That is like whether you think they're crazy or not. That's your fans, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
like the Yankees, Cowboys, and Lakers. That's the holy trinity of American sports fandom, dog.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, yes, it's, you know, like people talk about like, oh, like, are the expectations realistic for Dak Prescott or Tony Romo or whatever? They're the fucking they're the quarterback of the fucking Cowboys. No, the expectations aren't realistic, but guess what? You have a guaranteed color commentator job after you retire. You got all the endorsement deals you want. It's the same thing with the Lakers. JJ Redick's getting $8 million a year as a guy who has never coached in the NBA. It's there's enough upside that I don't really feel too bad for people who are bothered by the pressure or the intensity. To that point,
the game.
Jackson's put in the chat a poll: will JJ Redick be thought of as a successful Lakers coach? 54% of people say no. Frank Vogel won a championship and got fired, so I think that's a fair response. But what do you guys think of that? 54% of people think JJ Redick will not be thought of as a successful Lakers coach in our chat.
I think it goes back to the conversation we had where we were like, we want the Lakers to do right by Bron. We want the Lakers to get a coach and who's going to get, do right by Bron. And my whole thing is, yes, JJ doesn't have any experience. We all know that. But what if this is the guy that Bron wanted? I'm not buying for a second that they weren't fucking communicating or whatever. We know for sure that
Claire, who groaned in the press conference when JJ said LeBron and I did not discuss it.
I don't know, because I was sitting in the way back, but honestly, like, so I would have agreed with you, and like, because like common sense and logic would indicate that this was like who LeBron wanted to be the coach.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard some stuff in the last couple of days that makes me think that might not be the case.
Yeah,
I think.
Look, I think the workaround they're using here is, I wasn't calling him after interviews and we were comparing notes. No, but we all the implication they wanted us to have is Bron was hands off. He wasn't saying who his guy was, and that's bullshit. We all know his guy was JJ. He's doing a fucking podcast with the dude. Like, bro, this is not a conspiracy theory. Where he was doing a podcast, and the theme of the podcast is we see basketball at a higher level than most people. Like, come on, dog.
Hypothetically, if you were coaching in a championship game,
that
JJ,
was so
what would
funny.
you do?
And he's like, for your kids, I mean, like, that was hilarious. I'm starting to get, and maybe this is just me, like, this is like PTSD, like, abandonment issues or something, but I'm starting to get a little bit, like, I'm starting to feel like there's a little bit more credence to the idea that he could leave. I'm not like reporting anything or like breaking any news or anything, but like, I was definitely in the camp of like, there's no way he's going anywhere. He's coming back to the Lakers. I would say I feel probably 75% confident that that's the case, but I don't feel like it's completely outside the realm of possibility.
Don't say that.
For him to leave now.
Claire?
If that's the case, then I don't know. I mean, let me put it this way. If he ends up leaving, then we'll know that he wasn't directly involved in the JJ hire, but I mean, I would say it's still, like, I hope this doesn't get aggregated. I really think it's probably still by leaps and bounds the most likely outcome that he will stay. But I wouldn't be like completely bowled over if he didn't, I guess.
I know, Mike, you were talking about, is this the next Pat Riley? It could be.
That's how they sold it. Like, they get vibes.
They sold it, but look, for me, I'm looking at Pat Riley's team. Look at the team that he, that he took on. You feel me? Like, this is not that team, bro. So will he be successful? I mean, I don't think it's set up for him to be.
Yeah.
with the team they have, you know what I'm saying? The years, Bron's in year 40. What are they going
Year
to add
40.
for him to really make
Year
not
40 as a
sorry,
feels
human
like
being.
year 40.
As a human
Year
being, he's in
22.
year
Yeah.
40.
Year 22. Yes. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see it being, I don't think it's a successful team with or without him.
That actually,
So
can I
mean,
actually throw a topic at you guys? Because
Yeah.
I wanted, after the
Yeah,
press
for sure.
conference, I thought of something that I wanted to talk to you guys about. How did you guys feel about the fact that I felt like Rob, and I feel like this isn't getting covered a lot, partially because of that viral JJ quote, but I thought Rob was sort of like starting to set the scene for them not making many aggressive changes this summer. And like at the trade deadline, I remember him being like, oh, we're saving our picks because we're going to have 3 picks then in the summer in the off season. And then we can like make a real big move that's actually going to move the needle. And then Rob talked, I don't know if you guys watched the full press conference,
Yes.
but he talked a lot about how difficult the second apron was going to make trades and how they're going to lean into player development.
Yep.
And like very much was changing his tune on that. And also it felt like sort of tempering expectations for how aggressive they were going to be. And I'm like, yo, so help me God, as a LeBron James fan, like if you guys,
bro.
if you guys don't use at least 2 of those 3 available picks this summer to make this roster better, that is elder abuse. That is malpractice.
Yeah. Well, I think Rob might have been maybe trying to send a message to the roster because Sam Amick dropped the report that said Bron and AD want another guy there today. You know, so yeah, I think that might be, you know, the route that Rob is going, but I don't think that the team's on board with that, especially not Bron and
That's
AD.
what I'm saying. Like, is this all buttoned up and ready to go? Like, if Rob, I mean, and again, I'm like, I'm not trying to start shit, but just while I'm talking to like my smart friends that know basketball, I'm like curious to get your guys' thoughts. Like, if Rob is sort of signaling like, okay, we're not going to be aggressive. We're getting this first time head coach with no experience. That's like all about player. We want him to develop players. And we're talking about like Austin Reeves and etc. Max Christie. Like, how would you feel if you're LeBron? And that's like all of the messaging that's coming out of the Lakers. And he is a free agent right now. He has not committed yet. So I'm just like, I think this is just a little bit spicier. It potentially is a little bit spicier than we thought. That's my take home.
It could be a ploy. It could be a ploy to try to get Bron to bring that number down. So if you do want help,
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, but listen, I'm not a guy should take cuts for the team, but let's do the math here. The second apron's 190. Bron and 80 are making 80 million, something like that. 80, 84.
I think more than that.
Last year, wasn't he?
So
Bron was making 50 last year. Yeah.
I mean,
probably closer to 100.
I'll never be on Rob Pelinka's side over LeBron James, but the math is a math, you know, and he's being honest when he says we can't trade for a third star. We're going to have $40 to pay the other 13 guys on the team.
Also, the thing is, too, that's not how you win.
Not right now.
You don't. That's not how now, bro. These teams are too good.
The problem is
you just can't throw out 3 good players now, 3 guys, and win a championship.
And that's the problem with what the NBPA let the league get away with this CBA is that no one had the warning for this. And what it feels like to me, and this is where I think the Knicks getting a Mikal Bridges is so big. It was like musical chairs for the role players who win you championships, and the music stopped. So it's like KCP is in Denver. Drew Holiday is in Boston. Mikal Bridges is going to New York. Like those dudes aren't out there.
It's gonna feel like,
and you can't
90s,
overpay for
you
one of them. I mean? It's not set up for you to do that anymore. So it is. I mean, I think this is gonna have really big shockwaves throughout the NBA. And an unfortunate thing for Rob Pelinka, which he knows, which is why I think he was doing so much of that at the press conference, is Lakers fans don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Lakers fans aren't going to sensitively learn about the new collective bargaining agreements impact on team's ability to sign.
I mean,
guys.
I hope they don't, because this shit's fucking boring. And like, we only do it because it's our job. So like, please don't. Just like worry about it when you see the roster.
Yeah. I think there will be some, I don't know. I think there will be some things to worry about. Okay. My last question, you guys, on JJ Redick before we say goodbye to Claire. Is JJ Redick going to win an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers?
No.
That's a hard question for me to answer because I want one thing to be true.
Damn.
But I also talk about this for a living and know what the league looks like right now. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes just because I'd rather be wrong about that than right about saying no. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That's
I'm gonna try and will it into
I'm just gonna
existence. Like
copy
that.
paste your answer into my answer. Tyler, what do you think?
I think no. I think he can be a successful coach. I do not think that he can lead this roster to a championship as it's constructed now. Shit might
'Cause he's
change
not a
after
magician,
some
you
offseason
mean?
moves. Yeah.
But I would say this: if he does,
Right.
we're gonna have to give him some credit because it's gonna require Rui to take a huge step. It's gonna require it's gonna require some legitimate player development that would be pretty fucking impressive.
Bro, he went in that press conference. He said, "Rue, you got to get your ass on the boards, bro. What are you doing?" Like he said he wants to see more rebounding from that dude. So
I mean, if he does, put a statue of him in the IE. You know what I mean?
In the IE.
Not in front of statue. But give him a
Yeah.
statue.
What
but
about El
just,
Segundo at the practice facility?
Yes, give him a G League
Okay,
statue.
okay, yeah. One of the AI joints. You know what I'm saying? Give him the Allen Iverson treat, the
the little
Philadelphia
Funko,
treatment. You know what I mean?
Funko Pop.
Give him the bobblehead treatment. You feel?
All
me?
right.
You ready for a night full of big fights and big action? It's UFC 303, and it can be even bigger. Jump in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a fighter to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your fighter, and place your first bet. It's that simple.
The light heavyweight title is on the line in the main event, but there are so many more amazing matchups happening in Vegas. And speaking of amazing, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins. That's code Jenkins for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Get that big fight feel only on DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.